I'm too weak to make the climb. I need a miracle this time. That's when I heard the voice from heaven say, don't tell me about that mountain, tell that mountain about me. Face your feet, shout my name, proclaim the victory. You said your prayers, now take a stand, get up on your knees. You told me about that mountain, now tell that mountain about me. Introduce the problem to the answer, and you will see that problem step aside. There's no place for fear, the God of heaven is near. Step out in faith and face it eye to eye. Don't tell me about that mountain, tell that mountain about me. Face your fear, shout my name, proclaim the victory. You said your prayers, now take a stand, get up on your knees. You told me about that mountain, now tell that mountain about me.
Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC in Christ Radio. We're your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. That's local in Northeast Alabama. You can also find us on Abundant TV, and that's worldwide. We're found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you listening. I know you got a lot of things to do listening to us right now, and that really means a lot. Coming up on Friday's show, we're going to talk about how to make a wind chime, and that's out of found products at thrift stores. And this will be a thrift store I shop at frequently. It's called Shepherd's Cove Thrift Shop. Also, 2 o'clock, I'm going to be talking with you, or actually talking to Diamond and Silk. I'm really looking forward to having them on the show. That'll be 1:30 on Friday. 2 p.m. made from scratch cake. Oh yeah, we're right here in the South. I'm going to give you a recipe that is used. Actually, that was my grandmother's recipe. That's how to bake a cake. On Thursday at 1 o'clock, I'll be talking with Rob Patz. And Rob is the owner of Abundant TV. Looking forward to talking with him. I think he's a live wire right there. That guy's shy. We're going to have to talk with him a little bit about that. 2 o'clock, we'll be talking with singer Don Stiles. He has a song he has written that's just really taken off the charts. And also on our radio station, he's always up there in the top 10. So we're really looking forward to seeing him. Tomorrow's show, Wednesday, we'll be talking with Mayor Chuck Abels and looking forward to talking with him. He's the mayor of Geraldine, Alabama. And I'll have to tell you this, if you're thinking about starting a business and you are listening to any of the 50 states, even abroad, and you're thinking about a business in Alabama, you might want to think about coming to Geraldine, Alabama. Absolutely, because we got low crime rate, great place to live, kids, you can feel safe with kids being at school. And wow, the cost of living is extremely low here. We're living on 38 acres. If we had this 38 acres anywhere else, I promise you it's going to cost a small fortune. Absolutely. And then we're going to be talking with Don Brown, and he's with the Auburn Extension Office. And hardly wait to talk with him about the garden we have out here. Now, Brian is the reason we came up with the idea of the block garden. Tell you what, cinder blocks. I'd do it again. As a matter of fact, I have ideas on how to make it better next year, because we've planted all these things and wow, I mean, there's no stopping it. The roots are massive in this garden, and I'm telling you, no pulling weeds. I love that idea. We have tomatoes coming in like crazy. Cucumbers, I'm giving them away. We've got so many. I can never make enough pickles. I mean, never. I mean, it's too many now. And anyway, we're going to be talking about that, I'm sure. Now, let's see. Oh, Amanda Hollingsworth will be with us at 2 today. I'm looking forward to talking with her. And she's with Shepherd's Cove. 1:30, we're going to be talking with AP Stedham. I'm looking forward to that as well. He's a talk show host and sports commentator, starting his own talk show. So lots of great things happening with him. And I'm going to be talking in just a few minutes. I'm going to be talking with you about vacation tips. As a matter of fact, let me say no thanks to that. You know, these little pop-up ads, you know, sometimes you get like a free site and it's little pop-up ads that come up. Make sure you're really, really careful about that. And a couple more tips I wanted to mention to you as well. Just because something says it's free and you're going to download it, that's not 100% true. So if they start asking you for credit card information, that's not free. So be really careful out there. Okay. I care about you and I care about your money. I care about your finances. So that's the deal. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. And I think that's probably all I've got for you today. Oh, make sure you go to the Cattle Stampede Steakhouse, which is located in Scottsboro, as well as in Fort Payne. Make sure you check them out. They've got these really awesome lunch specials. Begins at 11 o'clock and it ends at 2 o'clock. And it's only like 5 entrees, less than $5, and some super good food out there as well. I want you to check out my Pillow guy. Lots of great specials going on at My Pillow. And a lot of stuff is like more than half off. So some super good deals right there. Okay, now, first of all, I want to talk to you about traveling. A lot of folks are doing staycations this year, and which is probably what we're going to do until we have an event actually coming up with Rob, and this is going to be in October. So we're kind of getting into the staycation kind of a thing. But I wanted to mention a couple of things to you. I'm kind of looking and doing a something here on my page as well as talk to you at the same time. Okay, there you go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, checking out my white balance there. It's not looking really good. I need all the help I can get when it comes to paleness. And so this is something I'm doing right before your very eyes. Yeah. Okay. So I'm straightening that out. And let's see if the brightness needs to go a particular way. I think we're probably okay with brightness. Okay. This is what you call having a one gal show right here. And this is where you're doing it all at the same time. And so anyway, let's go apply and let's say okay. Let's say okay again. Yeah, I think that looks a little better. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a whole lot better. I was looking a little bit too pale there. It's boring laying out in the sun. I mean, it really is, which really doesn't do me any good anyway, because I go out, lay out the sun, turn red, blister up. When the blistering is done, I'm still just as pale as I was before I came in. That's number one. And then number two is it's boring. I hate doing that. And I used to go to tanning bed, and that did okay, but I don't know about tanning beds. I mean, if it's a thing for you, fine. Now, when I've had poison oak, that's the thing to do. When you get poison oak, first of all, use lye soap, that helps. And going to a tanning bed actually helps that out as well. Okay, let's go ahead and start talking about these travel tips. So this is from a website. It's called nomadicmat.com. Nomadicmat, MATT.com. So let's go ahead and see what he's got to say about this. And again, staycations, we're fine, but you will be traveling at some point in time. A lot of folks are just kind of waiting to see if the fuel prices are going to go down. I wish I had some good news for you. I really do, but let's just pretend it's never going to go down. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So this is what Matt says. He says, most people aren't born savvy travelers. It's something that only comes with on-the-road experience. That's absolutely true. In the beginning, you make a lot of travel mistakes, just like anything else you do, And travel savviness is a process born of missed buses. How many times we've done that? Missing the plane, foolish behavior, cultural unawareness, and countless tiny little errors. Then one day you begin to seamlessly move through the airports and integrate yourself into new cultures like a fish is to water. That's true. I want to help speed up the process, is what Matt says, and help you avoid any mistakes like he has made and like I have made, absolutely. And cover everything under the sun so that you can get it going on, okay? And he said he's learned these tips over the past 12 years, and these tips for traveling will have you saving money. And, saving money is like earning money, because if you make $10,000 a month, but you're spending $9,000 a month on frivolous stuff, and you're not really looking for specials. I mean, and I'm one of those. I mean, I don't know. I love to save money. And now I'm not saying beat somebody out of a price, okay, because a small business person has to make a living. But I'm just saying when there's a chance and you can barter, or when there's a chance and you can save a little money, you can make an offer on something like on eBay, for instance. If you want to make an offer on something on eBay, go for it. Okay, you never know when you're going to need it, whether it's at the beach, on a picnic, or just to dry off. While many hostels offer towels, you never know. Carrying a small towel won't add that much weight to your bag. Like my husband wants his own pillow, and he's kind of got me into that too. So there was a time I didn't really care. I was just like, who cares? I'm not, it's a pillow at a hotel. But he likes the My Pillows because, first of all, you can just like cram them in a suitcase, and they'll kind of get smaller in size. Then you take it out of the suitcase and it kind of expands. And also you can take them home and wash them, put them in the dryer. So check out mypillow.com, put the code Donna in there and you'll save some money. Okay. Always pack a towel, he says. It's the key to successful hitchhiking. Don't hitchhike. And plain common sense. You never know when you're going to need it, whether it's at the beach, on a picnic, or just to dry off. Okay. And again, hotels offer towels, but that's just kind of something we do. Buy a small backpack suitcase. By purchasing a small backpack, I like something around 35 to 40 liters. You'll be forced to pack light and avoid carrying too much stuff. Humans have a natural tendency to want to fill space. So if you pack a light, but have lots of extra room in your bag, you'll end up going, well, I guess I can take more later. And then you're going to regret that decision. I promise you that right there. I know we've been on missionary trips. And what we like to do is go to the thrift store and buy clothes that we can actually leave there. And so I've been known to do that anyway. Going on any trip, whether it's a business trip or going on a missionary trip or whatever, just leave them there. Somebody can, and the hotels, if you're staying at a hotel, well, then they'll always give them to a Goodwill or something anyway. So, they'll give you a few days to pick them up. If you don't pick them up in so many days, they give it away. All right, pack light. It's okay to wear the same t-shirt a few days in a row. Depends on how hot it is, okay? Think about the rest of us. Take half the clothes you would think you need. You won't need as much as you think. Write down a list of essentials, cut it in half, then only pack that. That makes good sense. Since you brought a small backpack, like I said, you won't have much room for extra stuff anyway. Like if you wanted to buy something. And this is a tip that I've got for you. Okay, like when we are going on, I used to always buy a coffee mug anywhere we went. I think, well, I'll remember the trip with a coffee mug. Well, I actually remember the trip anyway. And so what we do is I'll just get a rock. Now, I'm not talking about part of the landscape, because part of that landscaping rock could have come from Alabama. Who knows? Well, the whole idea is to get something that's from that area. And that's what I like to pick up. We'll just go walking, we'll go hiking, we'll do whatever. And I'll see an unusual rock. And it needs to be a small one. Don't get some great big gigantic something, but get a small rock and you make jewelry out of it. You can do some wire wrapping or whatever. Or find a friend who makes jewelry and wire wrap a necklace. And that'll be something from, let's say you went to Arizona. And so you're out there and you see a little rock. Now try to make sure it's kind of flat on the back. Now, it can protrude just a little bit on the front part of it, but make sure that it's flat in the back, because if you got a jeweler who's going to make it for you, you don't want them having to spend extra time to chip it down, because they're going to charge you extra to do that. Believe me, I understand why they do that. So try to find one as flat as you can on the back and then protrude just a little bit. And then they'll use that for wire wrapping. Okay, let's see. And I'm going to give you some tips on packing. And this is something that my son, we went to Africa, South Uganda, Africa. And so some of these I'm pretty sure is what he has done. But he brought a bunch of shirts and pants and stuff like that. So what he did is he rolled his shirts and his pants, less wrinkles that way. Okay, let's see what they say about this. Okay, pack as little as possible. He's already talked about that. Okay, the clothes that he likes to carry, it depends on how long the trip is. He likes to have 5 t-shirts, 1 long sleeve t-shirt, because in some areas it may be hot as it is possible outside, but at night it may get cold. So it depends on now here in Alabama right now, it's hot in the daytime, humid in the daytime, and hot at night. So, you would want to carry your shorts and your t-shirts. Don't worry about long sleeves when we come down here this time of the year. Now, we'll say this, when we start changing seasons here in Bama, I'll tell you what happens. You can run into all 4 seasons in the same day. So, kind of watch that too. Okay, long sleeve shirt, 1 pair of jeans, heavy and not easily dried. He says we'll wear them a lot. And a good alternative to jeans is khaki. It depends on where you go. If you come here to Bama, you might want to think about khaki pants. 1 pair of shorts, 7 pairs of underwear, 1 bathing suit, a pair of flip-flops, a pair of sneakers, 8 pairs of socks. He says, I always lose socks, so I take extra. I have no idea where they go. There's some kind of a sinkhole somewhere that socks go to. And I think it has something to do with your washing machine. I'm not sure, because you can put a pair of socks in. Where's the other one? Happens all the time. 1 pair of dress shoes, heavy to carry around, but then he says when we visit friends, sometimes they go somewhere that's not sneaker friendly. They may want to take you out to dinner or whatever. And this is destination dependent. He says, I do this more in Australia and in Europe and less so everywhere else. 1 dress shirt for going to a respectable place in the evening, and 1 pair of black dress socks. Okay, now we're still talking about packing for a trip, okay? And by the way, if you're pregnant and if you're like, it could be any time. When I had my son, I was a couple of days late. So I had a suitcase planned, already had it ready to go out the door. And guess what? We missed it. We forgot it. Had to go back and get it again. But anyway, try to keep one packed for such an emergency. Like maybe you have someone sick in your family. You might want to keep it's out of town or it's out of state. You might want to have a suitcase already packed and ready to go. Yeah, just that way you're not running around frantically like, oh, I didn't forget anything, while you still can think about what you need to put in there. That's always good to do the week before the trip anyway. Don't do it the night before or the morning of. I promise you're going to forget something. So anyway, and he's probably going to say that down in here too. Okay, toiletries. You're going to need 1 toothbrush, a tube of toothpaste, a package of dental floss, deodorant, a razor, a small bottle of shampoo, and a small bottle of shower gel. Now with the shampoo, I got to have conditioner too. And then 1 towel. Always pack a towel, he says. And you can use the towel just to wrap stuff up too, by the way. Small medical kit. Yeah, this is a good idea too. Band-aids, hydrocortisone cream. And you can go to some department stores and they'll have these little packets already. And they don't cost much. They already have all that stuff in it, the essential stuff. Antibacterial cream, eye drops. Yeah, if you get somewhere and maybe we're used to the humidity here, but you may come visiting, say, from Arizona to Alabama, you're going to find you're going to need some eye drops if you're not really used to our Alabama weather. Tylenol, and you can get these little packets, so you won't take a whole bottle and just get a bunch of little packets, take those with you. Hand sanitizer. Okay, for more on first aid kits, he has a link that you can click on as well. Okay, now gear, what are you going to need? Okay, and this would be for me because everywhere we go, I'm always going to do a video, okay? And so just make sure you got what you need. Okay, have your laptop ready, a smartphone. I always do my laptop, smartphone, and also bring my iPad. Yeah, this is one of my essentials right here too. Universal power adapter in case you go to Europe. I mean, they're not the same plugins we have, so make sure you got that. If you like to read a lot and you want to look around a whole bunch of books, carry a Kindle. That's a good idea right there. Camera, if you want more than just smartphone photos. Okay. Now, miscellaneous, a key or a combination lock, and everyone should have one. A flashlight, trust me, it comes in handy. You need some Ziploc bags, a life straw to be like a water filter. And also a special tip is buy small backpacks so you won't be tempted again to overpack. He talked about that just a few minutes ago. Okay, let's go ahead and close that one out. What time do I have? Okay, I've still got plenty of time. Okay, now he's talking about bring extra socks. He'd already talked about that earlier when he was talking about putting stuff in his luggage. He said he's always losing socks. But do take extra socks. You'll lose a bunch to laundry gremlins, wear and tear, and hiking. So packing extra will come in handy. I only take a few more things of those than I need. Nothing beats a fresh pair of socks. That's true. Absolutely. I'll tell you what my son did. One thing I will tell you to do, be careful. He and Larissa, my daughter in love, went to a wedding in Florida. One of his college buddies was getting married, and he forgot to pack socks. So what he did, he went to the Dollar Tree and didn't really check on the quality of the socks. And make sure you check the stretchiness part of the socks to make sure they're good ones, because what happened is it was aggravating for him because weren't that good of quality, and they didn't stay up on his legs, and they kept like falling down into his shoes. It was pretty irritating. He said, I'll never do that again. Okay, take an extra bank card and credit card with you. Disasters can happen, so it's always good to have a backup in case you get robbed or lose a card. And you don't want to be stuck somewhere new without access to your funds. He said, I once had a card duplicated and a freeze put on it. So that meant, and I've had this happen before, that meant I couldn't use it for the rest of my trip. I was very happy I had an extra, and not like my friend who didn't and was forced to borrow money from me all the time. Yeah, friends do kind of have a way of avoiding you when you start asking for money. Okay, and then also in this section, he's got some helpful articles on banking and travel hacking. Now, let me tell you about a good thing to do, whether it's a big bank or a small bank. What you need to really think about is calling the bank to tell them you're going on a trip, because these banks and credit unions, they have some strict policies when it comes, and they're always looking out for fraud, okay, because they could lose money. They don't want to lose money. So what they'll do, what you can do is call the bank and say, look, this is Donna, and going ahead and they'll ask you for your social security number and all that stuff and your bank account number. And I'm glad they do that, because I mean, that helps with fraud problems. So what you can do is call them and say, hey, we're going on a trip. We're going to be gone. And I would go ahead and give a little extra time. I would say, if you're going to know you're going to be a week, I would say a couple of weeks. And then when you get back home, you can always call them. But just say, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, give it a little extra time. And just want to let you know, I will be using my bank account, or my card, my debit card, and even do this for your credit card, okay? And tell them you're going to be using that for travels. You'll be going somewhere, you'll be going, buying fuel, eating out, what, because some banks, an alert comes up. Okay, if you're living in Alabama and I'm running off to New York, and they say, wow, there's a lot of New York stuff going on here. I wonder if there's a problem if somebody's taking their card. I mean, it's just an alert thing that goes off in a bank and a credit union. So make sure you call them and say, I'm going on a trip. We do, because I've had somebody take my identity before, and it can be a mess if you don't find out about it until you're on the trip. I mean, that could be a mess. And also, if you'll let the bank know, you can avoid some of those banking fees while you're traveling. And let's see. Oh, and let me mention this. When we have a credit card, and the one I use is a department store card, and whenever I use it, I get money back. And so, but we pay it like every 2 weeks. I don't want to pay the interest charges on that, but we're actually making money on the credit card. And another thing we have found out the hard way is when you're using a bank card, like your debit card, and something happens, they're going to freeze your account. That's going to happen until they get it fixed up. But if you use your credit card, it's easier. Like if you were on a trip somewhere and they accidentally charged you twice, you're going to get it straightened out a lot easier on a credit card than you will a debit card. Okay, believe me, we found that out the hard way. Okay, make sure you use no fee bank cards, and don't give banks your hard-earned money. Keep that for yourself and spend it on your travels. Get a credit card and debit card that doesn't charge a foreign transaction fee or an ATM fee. Over the course of a long trip, the few dollars they take every time will really add up. Now, it's going to depend. If you're going on, like, let's say, a missionary trip, for instance, There are going to be some extra charges out there. So be really careful. Travel by yourself at least one time. Not as long as I got that guy around that my husband who takes all the luggage for me. No. You'll learn a lot about yourself and how to become independent. It's cliche, but it's true. Traveling solo taught him, and this author here, Matt, how to fend for myself, talk to people, and handle unfamiliar situations with ease. He said, it makes me comfortable. It made me comfortable with myself, helped me learn about what I'm capable of, and allowed me to become a super selfish, allowed me to be super selfish and do whatever I want. I can't see adding that on to your strong points. But anyway, it can take some getting used to if you've never done it before, but do it at least once and make yourself uncomfortable and surprise yourself. You'll learn valuable life skills when you push yourself to the limits. I do that without trying to, but anyway. All right. In the article, and again, it's nomadicmatt.com, NOMADIC, Matt, MATT.com. Some great tips on here. Number 8, don't be afraid to use a map. Now, folks are getting away from using maps and they're using GPS and that kind of thing. You really need to know how the sun sets, whether it's going to be north, south, west, east, in case something happens. Let's say you get somewhere and it's a remote area and trying to use your GPS and it doesn't work because you have no cell phone service. Think about that too. Don't be afraid to use a map. Looking like a tourist isn't as bad as getting really lost and ending up in the wrong neighborhood. Yeah. I keep thinking of that vacation movie with Chevy Chase where they get into the wrong neighborhood. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Don't be afraid to use a map or ask for directions and look like a tourist. After all, you are one. I always use a map when I travel. It helps to get where you need to go. Yes, it does. And then also a lot of towns, like New York, for instance, we've been there a few times. And so you'll always find a place that'll maybe give away free maps. And so, check that out because it'll have like all of the streets, all the avenues. And if I can just find Times Square, go to Times Square, you're going to see that there, Times Square, and see all the roads that come out. That's going to help you. Okay. That's where we went there for Phil's birthday and a few years ago. And so he was wanting something that kind of tastes like Alabama. And yeah, it was pretty cool because we found a really good barbecue place. Now the barbecue place had for his birthday cake was cornbread, actually. Never had cornbread with whipped cream and strawberries. But anyway, we don't mind that being pretty good. And so that's the way that goes. Okay. Don't be afraid, and then we're going to a break. Don't be afraid to get purposefully lost. Wandering aimlessly through a new city is a good way to get to know it, get off the beaten path and away from the tourists. You might be surprised the hidden gems that you'll find. I like to wander around and find my way without using Google Maps. We all need to start doing that anyway. And also visit their local tourism office. Now, AP Sedum is going to be coming in just a few minutes. We're going to pick up after we talk with Amanda Hollingsworth. After we get them talking with her, we're going to get back into some of these tips again. That's going to be around 2:30. So make sure you stay in there. Now, this is all Central Time, okay? CST. Let's go ahead and get ready for the commercial break, and we're going to be back shortly. So y'all hang, okay? Y'all hang in there.
I said, God, you gotta move this mountain. I just don't see it any other way. I'm too weak to make the climb. I need a miracle this time. That's when I heard the voice from heaven say, don't tell me about that mountain, tell that mountain about me. Face your feet, shout my name, proclaim the victory. You said your prayers, now take a stand, get up on your knees. You told me about that mountain, now tell that mountain about me. Introduce the problem to the answer, and will see that problems step aside. There's no place for fear. The God of heaven is near. Step out in faith and face it eye to eye. Don't tell me about that mountain. Tell that mountain about me. Face your fear. Shout my name. Proclaim the victory. You said your prayers, now take a stand. Get up on your knees. You told me about that mountain. Now tell that mountain about me. Tell that mountain about me. Face your fear, shout my name, proclaim the victory. Don't tell me about that mountain, tell that mountain about me. Face your fear, shout my name, proclaim the victory. You said your prayers, now take a stand, get up on your knees. You told me about that mountain. Tell that mountain about me. Don't tell me about that mountain.
We're back. I was just jamming to that song. I love this song. This is by Exodus, and it's the Susan who actually wrote the song. So that's Susan, Hannah, and Mary. So I love that one. I appreciate them letting us use this also within our show as well. But Susan did write that song and did an awesome. It's one of those songs that kind of has you like moving rock and roll. You know what I mean? And it's very uplifting, and it's just all kinds of great. So thank you, Susan, for writing that song. That's absolutely cool. We're waiting on AP Sedum to come in. So while we're waiting on him to come in, let's go ahead and talk about our winners. And by the way, if you have a birthday or an anniversary, wedding anniversary coming up, or just want a date night, you want to get away from everything, and you and your honey go out to eat, all you have to do is let me know. Send a text my way or an email. You can send a text to 256-659-4319. You can send an email to Donna at icradio.media. That's Donna at icradio.media. And I'll be glad to go ahead and add you onto the birthday and the anniversary club. And we do give away, it's every Friday. And whenever I can get around to it, that's one of those things. And so just let me know. Again, that's an email address, or you can send a text. Wow, AP came in. Okay, here's AP. We just came in from the commercial break, and I was about to start talking about the birthday club, the anniversary club, and everybody wants to win. But here's the thing about it. Since we are now on Abundant TV, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. So now I'm talking with some restaurants that are like nationwide restaurants. So if you're calling in from Texas or whatever, and you'd like to be part of the birthday club, if we have something in your area, I'll go ahead and put you down there. I don't mind giving away gift certificates. I like giving away other people's stuff, AP. That's fun.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun, isn't it, Donna?
It sure is. I promise, AP, I'm going to get with you. I promise. I don't know if y'all knew this, but my mother fell, and she has fallen twice, actually. She was working in the heat of the day, and you know how the humidity here is in the summer, and I'm the mother, she's the daughter. That's the way this situation works. And I've been saying to Mother, you don't need to get out at lunchtime. You need to be inside, okay? Do this early in the morning or late at night. Well, she got a little overwhelmed and overheated and passed out and fell down. Then we taken her to the doctor, and she fell down again in the tub. So we've had a round with her. And so she promises that she's going to behave herself from this point on.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope she's all right.
You won't do it. She'll do it for a few days, and then she's going to be back to her old self again.
Right. Yeah. The morning and the nighttime. Those are the two parts of the day where you can move around, because of that heat will overwhelm you, as you say, in the middle of the day. So she has to be really protective of her health. I mean, you're not 15 anymore. So you just have to act accordingly, and hopefully she's on the mend.
Yeah, no, there were no broken bones or anything like that. She fell on her head. A big thing, because she's a beautiful lady, and she really cares about her looks. And she hasn't been anywhere in 2 weeks because she has 2 black eyes.
Oh my goodness.
She's probably mad right now. She's listening to this. That's good for her, though, to get a little mad sometimes.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. It's got her attention for sure. There's no question. No question.
You talked about that several times with football players, especially in Alabama and Auburn, where it gets so hot and humid, during their practice sessions. That's got to be rough.
Yeah, you have to be very careful because you can be taken over by the heat. You can have heat stroke. You can dehydrate. There's a number of things that can happen connected to the heat and the temperature. So it's very important for the coaches to have people on their staff that are monitoring the situation at all times, every single player. And you have to keep people hydrated and watch them very closely, because the temperature changes in their body, and you're not certain of what's going on, but they have these things that monitor the people in practice, Donna. It's very technological nowadays, so they have a good grasp of each individual. So that they've come a long way since they stopped giving people water during practice. Let's say that, Donna. Yeah.
Absolutely. AP, I know you had a very exciting week. You got a lot of places that you've been. You want to talk about those, but let's talk about your new show coming up too, and get folks used to that, because we're wanting to air it here.
Yeah, Donna, we're really excited. We haven't really formally announced it except to you. We told us people on your show, but we're going to tape it on a Wednesday evening, and we'll have it available so people can run it accordingly on their programming schedule: Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning. Some people are running it before their high school game on Friday. Some people are running it after the coaches show on Thursday. Some people are running it before the college games begin on Saturday morning. So we're trying to give people the flexibility to fit it in their schedule where it's in an optimal slot, but with be 1 hour in length. And we'll have one guest to be national/regional. And the emphasis is, of course, the Southeastern Conference. But, Donna, we have to keep our eyes looking towards the other teams around the country, like a Clemson and Ohio State in the Midwest, Clemson in the Eastern Seaboard, and USC on the West Coast, and Oklahoma and Texas in the Southwest, and Penn State in the Big Ten, and Michigan and Wisconsin, and any other place we think that there's a team that can compete to reach the playoffs, the Final Four teams in December, late December.
Right. And that's all important to know. I mean, because we want our teams to win. We want them to win. You got to know about your competition, what in the world they're doing. You can't really guess, though, their game plan, but you can kind of get some ideas.
Right. The first thing I'm always watching when I'm evaluating these teams, Don, is the quarterback. Can the quarterback beat your team, let's say in the last 3 or 4 minutes? Then that gives you pause to, have fear of that team. And then I'm looking at, let's say, the defense. Do they have a defense that stops the other team? Because if they don't, most of these SEC teams, they're putting 40 points on you like it's nobody's business. So if you can't stop a good offense and you're trying to compete against the SEC, you don't have much of a chance. But the teams like Ohio State, Clemson, I would say USC is going to be in that mold very soon with their new coach, Lincoln Riley, who moved from Oklahoma, Texas. They can recruit on the national level. Penn State gets some pretty good ball players from around the country. Michigan has had their trouble the last 10 years or so getting people that they normally would from Florida and California. They used to be able to reach all these 50 states down, but they haven't had the superior athlete like Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, let's say, for instance, Oklahoma. So we watch these teams. We're trying to forecast. Like last year, Donna, I thought that Cincinnati might be a team that would go undefeated. So I wanted to see them in person. So I did. I went to New Orleans to watch them against Tulane. So, and then the year before that, I was looking at Notre Dame. So I went to see them in Atlanta against Georgia Tech. Sure enough, they were in the semifinals both times against Alabama. But you have to have a little luck involved, Donna, because depending on the conference, from the American Athletic Conference, Cincinnati had to go undefeated to reach the playoffs. A team like Michigan, Ohio State, they could have a loss. Notre Dame can have a loss, possibly reach the semifinals, be one of the 4 teams. Now, that's not to say that the games will be competitive in the semifinals, but of the 130 or so FBS level teams, they were one of the best 4. So it gets very competitive at the top. The top 2, 3, 4 teams, they have superior athletes, great coaching. They've had luck with their schedule. When I say luck, I mean they probably won a close game or 2 or maybe 3. So there's a lot of variables that you have to try to forecast and see if a team's going to reach that semifinal position.
Absolutely. One thing that I found talking with you over the past few years is what you think is predictable is really not predictable at all. Anything can happen. Oh my goodness.
You have a quarterback that misses an important game. Maybe they lose. You have a kicker who has a bad day and it's a tight ball game. He misses a field goal, maybe in the second quarter. It would have been the difference. You have a player that might be suspended. You have a player that might be injured. You have a matchup that doesn't favor the other team. Maybe you have really fast receivers and they don't have good cornerbacks. That's not a good matchup for a team that doesn't have the cornerbacks that can cover these fast receivers. Maybe you have a team that runs and the other team, they can't defend the run. So that's in favor of the team that has a good rushing offense. Maybe you have a quarterback that's mobile and your defense cannot stop a dual threat mobile quarterback. So all these things happen and you're trying to sort through this unscripted drama, which is tremendous. I love it, Donna. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I love to go into the weekend and I literally, and other people are not sure what the outcome will be. So that's why you watch the games, you cover the games, you try to talk to as many people as you can to see who might have an edge or who's getting better with certain parts of their offense or defense or special teams. Maybe somebody got healthy who didn't start this season. They were on the roster but couldn't compete because they were injured. So you're trying to look at all these different factors and facets to see how they connect to put the final product on the field and see during the competition who will win.
Absolutely. Nick came up with a question, and Nick has been a long-time listener of this show, and he said that, and let me pull it back up, it already went out. Okay, I have an issue sometimes with text, so you guys bear with me, okay? And so Nick says, Donna, I've been watching your show a long time, and you always talk about being successful and not really caring what the competitor does. So this is for you, AP. He said, and I don't. I just do what I need to do to get
right.
Because everybody has their own way they do things anyway. But anyway, this is what Nick said. He said, do you think Saban has the same attitude? Do you think he, okay, he sent another one. Okay, he didn't finish yet. Okay, he said, do you think Nick Saban spends any time at all thinking about his competition?
Yes, absolutely, he does. But he doesn't dwell on it. In other words,
that's the difference.
That's the difference. He's focusing on his team. They're practicing hard, trying to execute their plan, their techniques. And then as they prepare for the game, of course, you're going over the plays that the other team runs on offense, defense, and the special teams. But I'm not thinking, oh, gee, this team has a great quarterback. What are we going to do this week? No, I'm trying to get my quarterback to play better. My defense to understand their offense, my defense, how he can pressure that quarterback to affect his performance. So you must look at the other team because you don't want any surprises done. Let's say that they have a tendency near the 20-yard line to throw to the tight end. Well, you've studied that and you've implemented that in your defensive game plan. All right, let's watch the tight end as they approach the 20-yard line. So yes, you have to watch the other team. But you don't dwell on that side of the competition. You're trying to prepare your team the very best. Our pass catchers being successful, catching the ball. Are our runners hitting the hole fast in the right hole? Are they, supposed to go to the outside and they go to the inside, vice versa? Is our passer becoming more effective and accurate? As our passer reading the defenses better? Is he getting the ball out of his hands in a timely manner to the proper receiver? Is our defense getting the plays from the sideline to change the defenses after every play? Is our kicking game solid? Is our kicker psychologically feel that he can make any field goal we attempt, let's say from 50 yards and in? Is our punter getting good hang times? Is he catching the ball when the ball snapped him? I mean, all these little things, you have to pay attention to these details. Our freshmen, do we have any freshmen that we think we might use this game? First year players or first year players that maybe have been redshirted. Are they getting prepared? Can we insert them into the game?
Well, I mean, I can see that because you never know what's going to hit, like when COVID hit. I mean, that's the number one example right there. How many businesses, how many football players, how many coaches had to think, whoa, we got to stop right here. I got to think of a new way to do things.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, that was just everybody had to learn that lesson. Everybody.
Yeah. Whoever managed the best with their team to try to keep everyone healthy, including the staff and all the coaches and the players. I mean, that was their responsibility as the head coach. You have to be ready to change. You have to be ready to adapt. You have to anticipate things that could go wrong. So that's all in your wheelhouse, Donna.
Yeah. Absolutely, it is. Now, you had an exciting week. A lot of things happened to you last week. So you want to talk about some of those?
Yeah, well, the last couple of weeks, Donna, and I'm also getting prepared. Not next week, but the following week, Donna, I will be in Atlanta for the SEC meeting on the SEC Media Days. So that, the 14 coaches will be there, and they each bring 3 players, Donna. But that hasn't been announced as of yet, the players that will escort their head coach to the Atlanta. But yeah, I was at the Manning Passing Academy. I love that going down there, Donna, because you see these quarterbacks up close. And from these college quarterbacks, there's about 43 of them from mostly FBS level schools. 12 of the SEC schools were represented. The only schools that didn't have a quarterback there, I'm trying to think, Auburn didn't have a quarterback there. And I'm trying to think what other schools didn't have a quarterback there. Arkansas. He was supposed to attend, but he didn't. He didn't, for some reason, he couldn't be there. So, but yeah, it's fun to watch them because, Donna, you see their accuracy and how they throw the ball, and they're under pressure during a Friday night competition. So some of them look good, others did not. They overthrew the targets by quite a bit, and it was surprising when you watch them. So I enjoyed that, being there for the Manning Passing Academy. I enjoyed being at the Senior Bowl Hall of Fame induction. They had the other evening in Grant at the Grand Hotel in Point Clear, and then I was also at the NBA draft for the Pelicans in New Orleans. So that's a long night, Donna, because on that night there was 58 selections, but it went like probably till midnight. It started maybe 7 o'clock, I think, and we kind of waited for the general manager to show up. Trajan Langdon, the former Duke player, he's the general manager of the New Orleans Pelicans. He came out about 12 or 12:30, so it was a late night. But it's fun because all these guys are waiting to find out what pro city will they be drafted. And Jabari Smith, he ended up being the 3rd player selected for Auburn, and Walker Kessler, historical moment, 2 first-round draft choices for Auburn. So that was fun to witness that. But one thing that happened this week, Don, they have some polls are starting to come out for the preseason college football, and there's 7 or 8 SEC teams listed in that top 25.
Okay.
You have Arkansas and Auburn and Texas A&M and LSU and Florida, Mississippi State, Kentucky, Georgia, of course, and Alabama. Alabama's been listed at number 1 by a few so far, but that's just the preseason projection. That's nice to start a conversation, but it doesn't mean very much now. You have to live up to that hype. And so it's fun to discuss that, who some of the better teams in the country at this point. But after the first couple of weeks, when you play those intersectional games, Donna, it will change quickly. I mean, Oregon, they're coming down to Atlanta to play Georgia. Penn State's coming down to Auburn to play the Tigers. Alabama goes to Texas to play the Longhorns. There's all types of games that'll set the tone. And I call them pendulum games, Donna. because if the SEC wins those games, then the power, the pendulum power swings to that league, the SEC. If they lose some games, then the pendulum's kind of in the middle. We're not sure who's going to be the power league this year because they won some, maybe they lost some. So that keeps everybody on edge, because when you're trying to have the final rankings at the end to get the semifinals together, those games are so important. It reflects on the conference, it reflects on the team individually, of course, but it's of note that everyone enjoys those games, because you don't see an Oregon and a Georgia. Alabama will visit Texas down, I think, for the first time in 100 years to play the University of Texas.
Oh, really?
1922. I'm starting to look at some of the history. I believe it's 1922. The last time they visited Austin, Texas. Now they played in between bowl games and at different times, playoffs. But 100 years since Alabama traveled to Austin, Texas. And then Penn State, they haven't been south since they played Alabama. It was either 2010 or 11, I forgot right now. But Auburn has never hosted them. They played in a couple of bowl games in Florida. So if you want to attend a game, I would do everything I could to attend those couple of ball games, because they don't happen very often. Now, Texas will be in the conference in 2-3 years, so you'll see them play Alabama, Auburn, all the other teams. But for Penn State to come down south and play in a Southeastern Conference team, I can't even remember the time they played down south before they played Alabama. Of course, they played Alabama a number of times in the 80s. They had a 10-year contract. But I think before then, it was way back in maybe the 80s or 70s when they came to the Southeastern Conference. So I would try to attend that Penn State game versus Auburn.
Absolutely. Now we have another message, and this is from Adam. And he said, last week when you were meeting some of the players at your event, did you see anybody that appeared as a diamond in the rough?
Diamond in the rough, right. I would say
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, that's a good question. The players that I watched, I was interested in all the SEC quarterbacks for certain.
Yeah.
I think I was interested to watch Will Levis of Kentucky. I think he's probably improved his passing ever since he left Penn State. And I think you'll see him be a better passer this year with Kentucky. He led them to a 10-3 record. So I would say Will, he's not a diamond in the rough, but he's getting better. I wanted to see the Arkansas quarterback. He's big, 6'3" or 4", 250 pounds, but he didn't attend. I'm trying to think of the other. I think one of the quarterbacks that I don't think he had that good of a night was Stetson Bennett, the fourth of Georgia. He was not impressive to me, but he won the national title with his team. He was the MVP. So, Donna, it takes one game if you get in that position. That's all it requires.
Oh, yeah. We've seen that happen a lot.
No, but I'm trying to think of somebody that was kind of new and different to me that I hadn't seen in a while. I hadn't seen Keaton Slovis up close. He was the former USC quarterback. Donna, he's at Pittsburgh now. So that's the second USC quarterback to head to Pittsburgh, believe it or not, in this transfer world in the last 3 or 4 years. Yeah. So, but I can't recall somebody that I didn't know about that surprised me.
But you can have, every year you come, and this is when the football season is actually going on. There's always somebody that you're seeing, somebody that you're just noticing their handiwork and what they do. Right.
I saw the quarterback from Ole Miss who transferred to Central Florida. He's known for his running down. He's very fast. He can run around the end like nobody's business. But you could tell that he was more of a dual threat quarterback, somebody that ran the ball than passed the ball. That was not his forte. I'll just say it that way.
AP, you have just about a minute left in this segment. What would you like to tell the folks before you go?
Yeah, we're just getting ready for the SEC Media Days. I'll be studying up on some of the players and the coaches and excited to ask them questions about their team. And of course, everybody's undefeated at this point. They're feeling good.
Even Auburn is undefeated right now.
Right. So everybody's feeling good about their team. I can't wait to just visit with some of the coaches and the players and some of the media from not only the Southeastern Conference region, but from around the country. And so on that Tuesday, I got to look at my schedule. see where I'll be. So, 2 weeks from today, I'll be in Atlanta, and they starts on Monday. It's 4 days, and it's always very busy, Donna, talking to people to get as much information as you can to prepare for the season and try to forecast and project who might be the winners and the losers. Maybe we'll have a team that we thought was going to be losing quite a few. Maybe they win. Maybe a team that's supposed to be winning is losing. So that's always the dynamic of college football and college athletics, because it's unscripted drama.
I wonder if maybe the glory days of Tennessee are coming back.
I suspect so, Don. I think they're going to be a better team. They've got a very good offensive coach. The quarterback I spoke to, Hooker, transfer from Virginia Tech, he's a very responsible person in his mannerisms and in his interview with me. So I think if they get some better defense, maintain a good kicking game, that you could see Tennessee challenge. Georgia lost 15 players, Don, into the pros. That's quite a bit. I don't know if they're going to be able to replace them in the past. Alabama has done fine with inserting new players and bringing along the young people, but this is a new test for Georgia.
Absolutely. AP, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's always a pleasure. I promise I'm going to get back with you. I promise.
Okay, Don, look forward to it. Thank you, Donna.
We'll see you. Folks, let's go ahead and cut into a commercial break. We're going to be talking with Amanda Rutledge with Shepherd's Cove in just a few minutes. So y'all hang in there, okay? We're going to be right back shortly.
I said, God, you gotta move this mountain. I just don't see it any other way. I'm too weak to make the climb. I need a miracle this time. That's when I heard the voice from heaven say, don't tell me about that mountain, tell that mountain about me. Face your feet, shout my name, proclaim the victory. You said your prayers, now take a stand, get up off your knees. You told me about that mountain, now tell that mountain about me. Introduce the problem to the answer, and you will see that problem step aside. There's no place for fear, the God of heaven is near. Step out in faith and face it eye to eye. Don't tell me about that mountain, tell that mountain about me. Face your fear, shout my name, proclaim the victory. You say your prayers, now take a stand, get up off your knees. You told me about that mountain, now tell that mountain about me. Tell that mountain about me. Face your fear, shout my name, proclaim the victory. Don't tell me about that mountain, tell that mountain about me. Face your fear, shout my name, proclaim the victory. You said your prayers, now take a stand, get up on your knees. You told me about that mountain, now tell that mountain about me. Don't tell me about that mountain. to move this mountain. I just don't see it any other way. I'm too weak to make the climb. I need a miracle this time. That's when I heard the voice from heaven say, don't tell me about that mountain, tell that mountain about me. Face your feet, shout my name, proclaim the victory. You said your prayers, now take a stand, get up off your knees. You told me about that mountain, now tell the mountain about me. Introduce the problem to the answer, and you will see that problem step aside. There's no place for fear. The God of heaven is near. Step out in faith and face it eye to eye. Don't tell me about that mountain. Tell that mountain about me. Face your fear, shout my name, proclaim the victory. You said your prayers, now take a stand, get up off your knees. You told me about that mountain, now tell the mountain about me.
Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio in the town of Geraldine, Alabama. Thank you again so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always a lot of fun. I didn't tell Amanda, I didn't want to frighten her or scare her to death or anything like that. But we've been on local television for a really long time. And that's channel 182 on Charter Communications. But Amanda, you're on worldwide right now. We are with a big television station, and it's called Abundant TV. So you're now being featured on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire.
Yay.
So it's so good to be with you. And I love talking with every one of you. And I was especially tickled when you sent a message and said you were going to be on today. So I'm really glad to be with you today. Hope you're having a great day.
Oh my goodness, it's a beautiful day. It's a gorgeous day. I just had a long vacation. I'm back at work and refreshed and renewed, and it's all good. Today's beautiful.
Yeah, we got to do that. We got to have a balance, because I'm one of those, I don't have enough sense to know when to stop and like take a break. So Phil kind of has to hit me on top of the head and go, break time. So we all have to do that, have to refresh and renew ourselves. So a lot of folks are listening to you for the very first time, and Amanda is with Shepherd's Cove. And I'm sure wherever you're listening in the United States, there's a Shepherd's Cove near you as well. I'm not so sure it's going to be as good as this one, though. And I know there's some great ones out there. But you guys have been on my show for years. And I started this particular show when we moved back from Alabama in 2014. So it's been almost 9 years now, I think.
Wow.
You guys have been with us, though, one way or another. So let's go ahead and educate folks and talk to folks just all over the world. You got some folks in England who are watching you right now, too.
Wow. Well, I hope that my southern drawl isn't too bad.
Oh, I think they like it.
Well, as always, it's always an honor to be able to be with you, Donna, and all that are watching and listening. So I am a social worker with Shepherd's Cove. We are a hospice agency. We are located here in Albertville, and we have an inpatient facility, which there's only 3, well, actually 4 now in the whole North Alabama. So we are a rarity with that. We have our thrift shop, which helps us. We are a nonprofit agency, so our thrift store helps us be able to provide services to anyone, whether or not they've got insurance or not. We don't turn anyone away, so we're so proud and honored to be able to do that. What I specifically do is that, me being a social worker, I work in our bereavement department, and another thing that sets us out differently than other hospices is that our bereavement department goes like extra above and beyond. We're funded not only through the thrift store and through our hospice insurances, but we have grants that allow us to be able to provide many bereavement services. So it's not just for hospice people who have their loved one has passed away on hospice, but it's for people in the community as well. So we provide services in the schools, and we provide individual sessions, and we provide groups, all free of charge due to the donations and the support of our grants.
I wanted to mention the thrift store. First of all, I'm going to have a special segment on Friday. You guys need to watch this. And I'm going to be making, and I mean, I never know what I'm going to find there. I mean, it's always unique stuff. I don't know if you saw the wind chime I made out of a lamp.
No, I'm not surprised. You're so
man. I'll take some pictures and send them to you. It was a lamp, and it had 3 metal horses on it, on the bottom part of it. And then of course you got this part that has the, you know, the light on it, and light bulb and that kind of thing. And so what I did is I took the horses off, and I'm a metal worker, so I was able to take that off. And then you turn it upside down, and then I had my drill bits, and I went ahead and drilled some holes where the horses could kind of dangle and hang down. And I'm gonna tell you, everybody wants that. You're not getting it. Whoever you are, don't ask again. So I went on ahead and made a video of it and put it out there, and people were going, "Is it for sale? Is it for sale?" And I'm like, "No way."
Jeez.
But you never know what you're gonna find. And the lamp was like $3. And
you always, the stuff you teach me that you find at our thrift store and the things that you repurpose it and bring new life to it, I love it. I love seeing the things that you create.
Well, we're going to do it again. I'm going to show you. I bought some things from Shepherd's Cove Thrift Shop. They're located on Highway 431 in Albertville, and you are helping a great organization when you purchase from there. But you'll be getting some awesome prices as well. Use your imagination, and make sure you take plenty of time to go in. Now, don't let this be, I'm on my lunch hour, I got to hurry up. It does not need to be one of those times. You need to go when you can spend some time and walk around. But anyway, on Friday's show, and let's see, I'm going to be doing that at 1 o'clock. And so I've got some things I found. We're going to make another wind chime.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to see it. I know it's going to be beautiful.
Yes, it's going to be weird. It always is. And Phil will go, he doesn't even ask anymore. And he's got the bug. If you notice, he comes around with me now. And we go inside the store, so he's got the bug. I never thought he'd get that bug. And so he'll hold up something and he'll say, "What about this? You think you can make something out of that?" That's where he does it too. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah, get you happy to go. This is somewhere your husband will actually go shopping. He will do it. You just got to take him around and let him see the stuff.
And there's a seating area, you know, so if someone doesn't want to shop, or if they get tired and they need to rest, they've got a beautiful sitting area too. So they've really thought of it all. Yeah, my whole, basically the majority of my home, like the furniture and things, because I have animals, so I don't want to spend an arm and a leg because those animals just treat it like ain't nothing. But couches and chairs and recliners, it's all come from Shepherd's Cove. So
they do. I mean, it makes sense to do that, because first of all, I'm going to tear something up anyway. Yes. So why pay full price? Right. Tear it up. But we can find all kinds of great things, clothes. And we were talking earlier about folks, this is about the time of the year people go on missionary trips.
Yes.
And so what we do when we go on missionary trips, we went to South Uganda, Africa once. And so I went to the thrift store and got a whole bunch of clothes. The only thing is I wanted to keep them. But anyway, I got a whole bunch of clothes, and I thought, well, you know what, it'll be less packing, you know, to bring it all back, because it's expensive when you fly out of Africa, and then you've got a bunch of stuff you want to take back. So we just left all of our clothes and just carried something to wear.
Good idea.
You're getting nothing, and just, you know, and then just, you know, then that way you've got souvenirs, place to put your souvenirs.
And they've got the Christmas shop that's opening up. I think, I want to say this week or next week. They've already got it decked out in Christmas. They're calling it Christmas in July. So go ahead and get a jump on. I mean, if it was me, I would be decorated for Christmas.
Oh yeah, I would. I love it. I never take it down. But I'm going to tell you what Loretta did one time, because you guys do this every year. And so she saw me. She was passing by. You know, she's a manager of Shepherd's Cove, and she knows how I am. I can't wait for anything. So I was trying to look inside. It's where you can't, they like block it until they're ready to open it up. And I started doing this fake hand. And she said, no one knew you were going to come here. No, you can't see.
She even blocked you? Oh,
Oh,
wow.
me, don't you? You know me good. But you can get all kinds of stuff, even if you're crafting. And there's a lot of Christmas things there, stuff that doesn't necessarily have to be used just at Christmas time.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
can't wait. So I'm going to find all kinds of stuff for those wind chimes.
Oh, yes. Yes. They always have, you know, like some nice china pieces. So, and sometimes a whole set. So, yeah. That's what is it? Don't miss a week or you'll miss the bargain, because that's true. That is absolutely true.
And, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, Amanda, because, you know, a lot of folks just getting married, you first get married, you don't have time to buy like extra stuff, like extra china for Christmas and stuff like that. But if you just got married, you can afford it because all you got to do is go down there and there'll be plenty and all through the summer or all through the Christmas season, they'll have new stuff coming in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So anytime anybody shops at our thrift store, like I said, it's not just fueling, of course, with the economy, but it's helping an organization to be able to give back to our community. Our community is huge in supporting us. Shepherd's Cove would not be the hospice that they are today if it wasn't for our community. Our community backs us and supports us, and it's evident by the shopping that goes on at the thrift store. But, you know, one of the things, because we are a nonprofit, we do depend a whole lot on donations. So with like our bereavement program, we provide these free services to give back to the community because the community has done so much to support us. So this is a way we try to take that revenue to provide services to people without insurance and to provide services for people for after death care, because it's hard trying to live life differently without your loved one. No matter if it's a spouse, a sibling, a pet, a sibling, a spouse, it's hard. It's an adjustment, and sometimes you just need an extra support, an extra helping hand. And our, you know, society, we kind of live in the mentality of, well, aren't you over it yet? Well, you're never going to get over it. You know, I don't say that as a negative Nelly. I call her factual Frida. The facts are, when someone who's been in your life for so long is no longer there, it's an adjustment to your life that getting over it is like the connotation like it never happened. And we don't want that to happen. We want their life to be honored and remembered, and that love that you have, you know, it don't end. It carries on. And so how do you continue to love somebody who is not here, but who always will be with you? So that's what our grief services we strive to do, and we do for adults and for children. So any kind of support that is given to us in Shepherd's Cove, we strive to give back to the community.
Well, I'm glad you said that too, because I was really always close to all of my grandparents, and on my dad's side and my mom's side as well. And so we bought the farm, and we're living in the house my grandparents had, mother's parents had. And some people said, is that going to be hard on you? And I said, no, I don't think so, because I got so many great memories here. And every time we do something to the house, one of us, Phil or me, one of us will say, what do you think Mama would say about that? You know, you think she'd like the color? Do you think, you know? But she and I had pretty much the same taste. So, you know, I'm sure if she could say something right now, she'd say, Donna, I'm glad it was you.
I'm sure. Oh, that's wonderful. What a legacy that you're continuing on at the home place. That's amazing.
And I'm a beekeeper now. And so my grandmother was a beekeeper. Yes.
Oh, wow. Just making it full circle, just bringing everything back to life. I love that.
Yeah. Well, they turn into your friends. And I wanted to bring something you said about pets. And because, I mean, I'm a pet person, you know, we love our animals. Even my chickens have names. This is crazy. But anyway, and there's thousands of these, so I can't name all of them. I'll run out of names. But with that being said, you know, animals can be a part of your life. I mean, they really are. They're like our kids.
Absolutely, absolutely. And excuse me, we're getting into more of a society that people are accepting that because there's sometimes, maybe couples aren't able to have children, and it's just not that they don't feel led to adopt or don't want to adopt or whatever, but their children end up being their pets. So that's being more noticed. So I love that that's kind of being more noticed. But one thing that we need to keep on shining that light on is that any loss that you experience in your life deserves the time to be respected and grieved. And you need to be able to mourn it, whether it's a loss of a pet, but also when like empty nesters, or retirement. Those are things of grief that we don't pay a whole lot of attention to because we kind of think about grief as just death of a person. But grief comes along when anything in our life ends, something in our life ends. So I like that people are striving as a society to become more mindful of their emotions and the support for their mental health. So I do want y'all, I want everyone to know that there is support out there that we try to support. Now the grief support that we provide is for specifically death of a person, but there are things out there still to help with when you're struggling through your grief journey, and that's exactly what it is. Because as you continue in your journey, the hope and the goal is you're never going to always stay at the very beginning of it. You need to make the steps to continue to heal. And in order to heal, one of the examples that I usually tell in my groups or even individually, especially if you've lost a spouse or a child, but with a spouse, when you become together as God has created us to become one, and you've created your life together, no matter how long it's been, if it's been a year or if it's been 70 years, you've become one. And when they're no longer in your life, it is like being literally pulled from you, that you're only half of a person and you're striving to do life as a half. So as when y'all became one of you was one arm and they were the other arm and legs and so forth. It ain't like that now. You're trying to do this life with one arm, one leg, and it's just a difficult time. And so when our society tries to kind of, well, aren't you over it yet, or aren't you done? That happened 6 months ago. Haven't you? Da 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 da. We tend to feel like we can't share, we can't say and feel exactly how we're feeling, so we just kind of bottle it up and we put on the mask of everything's okay, when it's not. And there's days that you're just too tired, you don't want to put that mask. So coming to a group or coming and being a part of the support that we strive to provide, sometimes it's just validating to say, listen, you're not crazy and you're not alone. And that's kind of the tagline that we try to use, is you don't have to grieve alone. Because you can, I don't know if you've ever felt this way, Donna, but I know I have, that I can be in a whole room full of people, but I'm absolutely alone. I don't feel connected with anybody. And it's not on anybody's fault. It's not like anybody's just being outright rude or mean or nothing. It's just how I feel internally of, do I really want to put myself out there? But we just closed a group today, and we're starting a group today, and I had to tell my group today that we're closing, like, just the growth that I've seen in them in a few weeks. It's amazing. And we have a fellowship group of people who have gone through our services, or not through the services, but through our grief support groups multiple times, but they weren't necessarily, they didn't want to leave because they love coming and having so much fun in the fellowship.
Friends at places like
yes. That. And so we were like, well, we don't want to turn them away because they love it here. So the Lord has provided us a way to where now that we've got a fellowship group and it's people who have gone through the support groups a couple of times and they've learned the good foundation, but now they're kind of maintaining and just keeping those friendships. So it's called our fellowship group, and they just come and get together and laugh and cut up and go eat and stuff. So it's finding that community and that those people that welcome you, and no judgment. You know, you can feel, say, and do exactly how you need to feel, say, and do at that moment.
And I'm so glad you have that group too, because when my granddad had passed away, these from Geraldine, you know, the house we're living at now, but right along that time, we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. And it would have been great to have been with a group like that when we moved to Charlotte, because you couldn't call mother and didn't want to upset her. And then, you know, so groups are great. And then lasting friendships come out as well.
Absolutely. And it's so beautiful. I know that's such an odd sounding word, but one of the things that the Lord has continued to these past like few months in my life, I've been, you know, we go through these things in our life, right? So I've been striving to get like, Lord, okay, you're teaching me something through this. Teach me, you know, get the wax out of my ears where I can start listening and really obtaining. But the one thing that I continue to hear the most from him has been called is just beauty from ashes. And then I'm aware of like all these songs that have them in it. And I think, Lord, you know, that's right, beauty from the ashes. But the one thing that he put in as I'm dwelling with him and talking with him, he says, but you got to remember what you have to go through to get those ashes, you know. And when we become ashes, or when something in our life becomes ashes, it's because we've had to burn it away. It's had to go away. It's had to be dwelled away and taken away. But through that, the beauty will come. And you know, that's a lot like in our grief. When something happens, it is most of the time, it can be completely devastating for some people, and they feel like they have no purpose. They feel like they have nowhere to go, and they don't even know what to do. But then from where I get to see it, when people have come and these beautiful friendships, and people have been able to come in and learn how to honor their love and their grief, and honor their person, still embrace that they are missing and wishing that their person was here and how much they miss them, but still being able to honor how they're feeling, but then be able to be embraced by other people. It is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely.
God, it's beautiful. So
during our life, and when we go through all these different things, I mean, you know, stuff just happens. And I've always looked for an instruction book, and God never sends it. You know, it like when my son was born, it was like, okay, he's born, Lord, now what do I do? You know, where's the book? And so you just have to learn. And it's kind of strange how things just kind of come to you, and that can be whether you find it on your own or you're in a group and you talk with other people. And when you're in a group, those kind of like a fast start, because you get to see what other people have went through. And you're like, oh, wow, it didn't dawn on me. That's true. I'm not the only person who feels that way. Absolutely. So a group setting is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. It is. And, you know, but there's sometimes, like I mentioned, you know, I'm pretty outgoing, but sometimes when I get in a crowd, I clam up. I'm one of those, I don't do well in crowds. So I often think about if I was in this situation as to, you know, do I need to go to a group or something? I kind of would be hesitant. Like, even though I do this, I would be like, I don't know if I want to do a group at first. So that's completely understandable. I get it 100%. So we do have the option of individual sessions. So if sometimes people think that they're not ready for a group, or sometimes people who come to group want a group, but they also want to do individual. So we do individual sessions coming together. And then we've also started doing the telehealth. So we do it over the computer or over the phone. So we strive to meet people where they are. So it just, again, to help in whatever way we can, because this world is hurting, hands down. The world is hurting. We're we're going through so many changes as a society, as a nation, as a world over the past, 4 or 5 years now, we're going back, and we're seeing the toll of it. People are having increased anxiety, increased depression, increased withdrawals, and, they feel like they're alone. And, I got to be honest, my faith in the Lord is strong, and I love him, and I strive to talk and be a part of him and have a relationship with him every day. But when I'm vulnerable, and the enemy's going to come at me any way he can. And so he has for this world, because that's what he's going to do. So people need to know there are people who actually do care, people who actually do want to help, and people who are actually, I feel like we're all called, to do this. So
I think so too, and I know you guys are called. But let's just take one thing that's going on right now, and that's gas prices. That's when you're living paycheck to paycheck, and maybe you would like to be able to be a part of the group, but you can't because you just simply can't afford the gasoline. I'm so glad that you guys are thinking of those things. There are so many options out there for you. And I'm so glad you guys are thinking about that.
Oh yeah, gas prices are high, very, very, very high. And also one of the things that we do provide with, now these are with the people who have passed away on our hospice services. This is for their families. If our hospice agency served them in their home, we can go to their home. So we can literally meet them where they are, go to their home. So that's another way to help with the offset of gas, because it's, I never thought I'd get excited to see this morning I saw where gas at one of my local places was $4.19. And I was like,
it excited me so much. And then I'm like, what am I saying?
So when would I get excited over $4.19 a gallon?
Crazy. That's total insanity. Amanda, let's talk a little bit about how folks can actually, let's say you're new in town, and I'm going to tell you, Amanda, every time I go through Albertville, there's a new building being constructed.
It is growing.
You guys are growing by leaps and bounds in Marshall County and Albertville. So let's say you're new to the neighborhood, spouse just got, hey, we just moved into Albertville, Alabama, and the other spouse, well, I'm lonely, I don't know anybody. They could volunteer, couldn't they?
Absolutely. So we absolutely could not do what we do without our volunteers. In fact, one of the regulations of hospice is that you have to have at least 5% of volunteer services provided by an agency. So not only do we just love our volunteers, because we do, but we also, it's one of those things that we needed to be able to do what we do. So there are several times people want to give back. They want to say, well, y'all took such a great care of our loved one. How can we give back? And just like you said, Miss Donna, people have moved in. So if you ever think that you would like to volunteer, or if I know we're out of school right now, but there are some school organizations that their students have to do a number of hours. We do have an age limit, but we do also work around and help with the school things. So just call 256-891-7724 and talk to Karen Denton. She is over our volunteers. We have chaplain support if you feel like you're led to spread the word and just be there with people during their possible final days, months, year that they're here on earth and they're unable to go to church. You want to be there with them, you can do that. We've got cove crafters. They're little crafty people.
I remember that one.
I was like, Donna, of course, she's one of our cove crafters. And they make some of the cutest crafts. And I'm telling you, it lights up our patients' day when those crafts are delivered. I want
to give a shout out to Loretta. And she does such a good job. And let me tell you, when I get there, we're turning into friends. All the people who come, we come to meet up with each other. And so we look forward to seeing each other, that second Thursday of the month. And so I'm busy talking, but Loretta she's got me figured out along with a few other my friends there. And so she's done videos. And then but she fixes the videos on that particular project, and she fixes it to where it loops. And that's kind of neat, because I'm going to be talking with the person right here and then miss out on something. And I think she was probably thinking of me when she decided to do that, because I was going, wait a minute, I missed it. I was talking, I was talking to somebody, and so it's a loop. And so if you're a Martha Stewart type and you just do all kinds of stuff, you're not going to be bored, you can go at your own pace. And then if you're somebody who you've never crafted anything before in your entire life, you just want to see if that's what you want to do, it's good for you too. So it's good for everybody.
That's right. That's right.
Thanks, Loretta.
We love Loretta, don't we? And also one of our the areas of volunteering is it's a sitter. Is so like if someone needs to, if you've ever caregived for someone, it's tiring. It's an honor to be able to, but it's also physically tiring on your body. Well, our sitters can go and sit with a patient. Don't provide any hands-on care, but they are literally going to sit and be present. So if that caregiver needs to run to the store, have a doctor's office, a doctor's visit, or just simply needs to sit down and rest, maybe even lay down and take a nap. So you're allowing that person to be able to rest with the peace of mind to know that their loved one is being watched after. And then we also do have our bereavement volunteers. It's people who send a card to loved one to our families that are being served, that their loved one was served on our hospice. Send a card and just saying, hey, you know what, we're here if you need us. If not, we're still here. So any way that you feel like you're led, if you got a gift that you can give back. Oh, you can also volunteer at the thrift store.
The best of all worlds right there. You guys have people who are volunteering there at the thrift store. They're apparently decorators, and you can get some good decorating tips from going in. And the way they have everything presented, because some folks, you'll look at something and you'll think, well, I don't know what I'd do with that. But if you see it displayed a particular way, it brings more light into the situation. Definitely.
They really are gifted over there. And I get amazed that when I do go, there's a sense of pride and an honor of knowing that I may not be there at the thrift store, but I'm a part of this service that we get to do. I'm a part of this ministry. And it amazes me that it's we're not a faith-based organization, but we are faith-based in our heart and our drive and our service. And when you talk to the CEO who prays for our agency, and we do have a new CEO, I'm sure you've talked about. So we've got our new CEO, but she was a nurse, and now with our agency. And so she not only just loves us, but she understands the drive and the passion that we have. And we do drive to provide with a servant's heart, exceptional individualized care. So that goes from the CEO to our financial officer to our custodial to bereavement to the thrift store. It is a service that we strive to do.
Now let's talk for a few minutes to businesses, because businesses are always looking for tax breaks. Always. So they can actually donate. Let's just say you own a retail store and maybe you have some inventory that just hasn't sold and you don't want to put it up in storage anymore. You're like, nah, I don't want to do that anymore. Could they just give that stuff because it's always going to be something somebody's going to want. Can they just give that inventory to you guys and write it off on their taxes?
Yeah, I think it's set up now. I don't know, because this is where I always say the Lord blessed me with a heart of feeling, not a mind of thinking. when it comes to numbers and all that. But yes, it is set up to where they can process all that and be able to have it written off on their taxes. Also, Miss Donna, you saying that reminds me of that our Shepherd's Field program, to where the churches, some of the local churches have these field that give us a little card, and it's for our Shepherd's Field. And so if they go and it's somebody that's in need, they'll give them a card, and it's for money. It's a monetary value that they come to Shepherd's Cove and is able to get some things. And when you donate, whether it's a business or whether you're donating out of your personal your personal things, you can say, you know what, I want to designate a portion of this or all of this in honor of whatever church. I attend Sardis Baptist. So if I wanted to say, hey, make this be in honor of Sardis Baptist, Shepherd, the thrift store will write Sardis Baptist and say, hey, these people donated this, here's this, and if anybody comes in need, send them back to our store for them to get some things. So it's, again, another way that we strive to give back to the community.
Well, how does a church get set up? They just need to call you guys, and the pastor, I would think, or maybe administrative assistant or somebody would need to do that.
So yeah, you just call and you talk to, I think you can talk to Christy Morton or Shallon Steed. She's over our marketing, but yeah, you just call that primary number, that 256-891-7724. And if you feel like you're an agency or a church that you think that you want to be linked up somehow, just let us know. Because I mean, I guarantee you we'll jump on it and try our best to get all that process for you. So
I know you guys will. I know that's all part of it. Something, there's so many great parts to, I mean, it's like a well-oiled machine. It's like, and you guys work together, and I think that's awesome. And it's very evident from talking with other people. It's not just me saying this, but folks who have had association with you guys always talk about, they were just there to help. And I just think that's really great. But I want to mention this. I don't know if you've noticed this, Amanda, but it's really hot outside. So if I decide I want to have a yard sale, about 15, 20 minutes, I'm done. I'm going to go. Oh, that's enough. So I'll call you guys. I don't like hot weather. So I'm going to call you guys, but you need to call now before the yard sale and get an appointment set up. But you can actually call Shepherd's Cove and they'll get the truck out there and pick everything up. You don't have to lift a finger. I mean,
absolutely.
And you guys will be glad to go ahead and pick all that up.
Yeah, and we send well, I was gonna say 2 fellas, but we got some women that jump in there too. They can put those fellas to shame. But we were blessed to be able to get a box truck, so it's large enough that if you do have a lot of yard sale items or an estate, some people are just clearing out the estates, not even doing an estate sale, or if they have, they just send whatever. So I say that to say, it being a box truck, it's large enough for a lot of items and big sized items too. But yeah, you don't even have to bring it up there. You do need an appointment for them to pick it up. I'm not, I could be wrong, and Miss Donna, you may know this better than I do. But on our website, we used to have a thing that you could just go online and schedule a time to pick up, and I'm pretty sure that that's still going. I think for a short time it had went down due to, I think it was just due to COVID, some things and all they couldn't pick up. But yeah, you don't even have to make the phone call. Our website is designed now. I love our website. It is user friendly, so easily categorized, everything, and it just flows. So if you everything that Miss Donna and I have been talking about, it is well represented on our website. It's unreal. They've done a really great job.
I certainly have. I didn't pay any attention to what time it was, so we went through the bottom of the hour. That's okay. I've got Amanda on. So Amanda, what would you like? Oh, let's mention fundraisers. You guys have fundraisers all through the year, and they are great ones. We got them for kids and adults, and all kinds of great things. And so now there's another one coming up pretty soon.
Well, the one that comes to mind. And Miss Donna, I'm so not prepared for the date, but it's our summer soiree. Is that the one you're speaking about? That's in August. Yeah. Okay, good. It's our summer soiree. That is one of our big fundraisers. We have it at the Majestic. I can't say that word.
I have some of those words. They just don't spin out. That's what my deal is.
Majestic venue. Goodness gracious. And it's a night that we kind of dress up a little bit and have, it's catered, and then we also, along with it being a fundraiser, we also have people who have utilized our services that have been impacted by the services that we have provided, and they come and they speak about how it really has personally touch them. And these are not people, they're not getting paid for what they're being told to do. They're not being asked for anything that they're told to do. This is just like, hey, we knew that they were on our services, or they had utilized some part of our services, and say, hey, would you like to kind of give a testimonial? I never heard anybody say no. And to me, that's an honor, because even these are like people that are like, I don't want to talk in front of. They want to get back.
From the heart, they will.
Yeah. So the fundraiser is a huge fundraiser for us, because again, with us being nonprofit, and I mean, like we said, gas prices and COVID, I mean, we're feeling, as a society and as everybody, we're all feeling the financial strain of things. And so we do have to have fundraisers to help kind of keep us afloat with new things. And the Lord has been able to, he's just provided for us every year, and these fundraisers help. So and like I said, it's called the Summer Soiree.
That's hard to say. Say it 3 times in a row, Amanda.
I can't even say it one time.
I wanted to mention this. You guys have really been awesome. But I wanted to mention this. I have followed every place they've been at thrift stores. And so there was one that used to be out there close to Cook and Sons Ace Hardware. It was so small. But you started out small. It started from a yard sale. It did. I've heard. So it started from a yard sale and did so well that you guys decided to go ahead and have it there. And this is a true testament of somebody that's living within the budget, and the organization you didn't start out somewhere big, you started out smaller and started growing into other sources. Then you guys went to Guntersville. I can tell you exactly everywhere you've ever been. So I follow it, Amanda.
Yes.
So then you get out there before you go down the mountain in Guntersville, and it was on the right-hand side. The only thing about that is a bunch of us like to shop there, and the parking was horrible.
Terrible.
Just getting out of there. Here's what I would do. It was worth it. I went. I mean, I know it was horrible getting out. So what I would do is I would turn to the right and go all the way down the mountain and come back up again. So
that way you didn't have to cross over.
It was that worth it to me. I mean, it was that worth it. And then when you guys moved where you're at now on Highway 431, and that's a good place. And speaking of growing, there's a big movie theater that's coming up there.
Oh, I know. I mean, heavens. You talked about you living in Charlotte. The vacation my husband and I were just in, or that we went to as a family, we went to South Carolina, went to Spartanburg, right there close to Spartanburg. And anyway, we went to a movie theater there. And I'm telling you what, I felt like I had stepped somewhere lavish. This was just a basic movie theater, but it had these big plush reclining seats. Oh my heavens. And all I kept thinking was, maybe the one in Boaz will have these.
I think it's going to. So you went to Spartanburg. I got to ask everybody who goes through Spartanburg, I have to ask this. What did you think about the Big Peach?
I didn't see the Big Peach, but I know what you're talking about.
I'll send you a private message, Beth.
I know what. Yeah, I saw pictures. I saw pictures of it. We didn't see it. We spent a lot of time looking at a lot of because we're kind of, we like history, things like that, and our children have they've adopted and are adapted to liking it. So so we went to Cowpens Battlefield and went to a lot of the Revolutionary area there, because I really wasn't thinking about South Carolina being one of the original colonies. And so when I got there and got in, I thought, oh my goodness, this is great. So we ended up having just an amazing time, a very relaxed time. But yeah, we didn't. I saw pictures of the beach. We just didn't get to see it in person.
It's in person what everybody says. I mean, we're not making fun of you if you're listening to us from South Carolina right now, but it does. You have to. If you live there, you've heard it all. You have to have. So anyway, okay, Amanda, we went over, but I don't care. It's been a good show today. What would you like to tell the folks before you go?
Just know that we are here in whatever way that we can be with Shepherd's Cove Hospice. We're more than just hospice. We're the thrift store, we're bereavement support, we're palliative care. And if there's anything that we can do to help serve in whatever way, please call and let us know. And if there's anything that you think that you can bring for us to help us, whether it's donations or volunteering your talents and your time, just call us 256-891-7724.
Amanda Hollingsworth, thank you so much for everything, Amanda.
Thank you, Miss Donna. I always love it when I get to be on here with you.
Me too. Let's go into a commercial break, guys. We'll be back. Bye, Amanda. You be good.
Bye, you too.
I said, God, you gotta move this mountain. I just don't see it any other way. I'm too weak to make the climb. I need a miracle this time. That's when I heard the voice from heaven say, don't tell me about that mountain, tell that mountain about me. Face your feet, shout my name, proclaim the victory. You say your prayers, now take a stand, get up on your knees. You told me about that mountain, now tell the mountain about me. Introduce the problem to the answer, and you will see that problem step aside. There's no place for fear, the God of heaven is near. Step out in faith and face it eye to eye. Don't tell me about that mountain, tell that mountain about me. Face your fear, shout my name, proclaim the victory. You said your prayers, now take a stand, get up on your knees. You told me about that mountain, now tell the mountain about me.
Good afternoon. We are back. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio in Santa Geraldine, Alabama. So we are so glad to be with you. You can find us locally right here in Northeast Alabama, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundant TV worldwide, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. So we were talking earlier in the show, this is somewhere around 1 o'clock-ish, about travel. And so there's a couple of things I wanted to mention to you before we call it a day. And we had gotten into credit cards. When you're traveling, it's wise to go ahead and call the bank and say, hey, I'm going to be out of state. I'm going to be wherever. You're going to probably notice a few charges on there. And that way they won't whack off your card, because Phil and I had our identity stolen one time. And so right after that, we took a trip. Well, guess what? We tried to use the debit card to get fuel. And guess what? It didn't work. They thought somebody had taken our identity again, and we couldn't use the cards. We had to call them real quick and say, no, it's us. We are in, we're in vacationing, so blah, blah, blah. Make sure that you do get with your local bank and mention that to them, okay? And your credit card company as well, okay? Because there's so much out there. Okay, and we talked a little bit about not being afraid to get purposely lost. That way you might find some jewels there. You never know, diamond in the rough kind of stuff. Now, this is something else that I thought was interesting. And again, you can find this information on this really awesome website. It's nomadicmat.com, NOMADICMATT.com. You'll find all this great information there. Okay. Matt goes on to say, don't always visit the local tourism office. He says they know about everything that's going on in town. They can point you. Always visit it, by the way. They can always point you to free activities. That's pretty cool. There may be like an event coming up in town, fireworks or whatever, and they'll know about that. Special events happening during your stay and everything in between. Another thing you can do is call the local Chamber of Commerce and, find out things that are happening, or visit their website and make plans to go to this, because usually it's some kind of a free event. So check it out. That way you're not spending all your hard-earned money. They even offer discounts on attractions and transportation, and that happens a lot through the Chamber of Commerce office. It's their job to help you experience the destination better. It's amazing how many travelers skip this when all you got to do is go to the website and check it out. But as a savvy traveler, you won't know to use this resource. This is probably one of the most underused travel tips in the world. So use the tourism board and save money. And then I'm adding in the Chamber of Commerce. The reason I'm saying that is we have awesome Chamber of Commerces here. Albertville is a great one. Also, the Mountain Lakes Chamber of Commerce, they are located in Scottsboro. Lots of tourism going on there. I'm a member also of the Rainsville Chamber of Commerce. Love Rainsville, awesome folks there. And then also the Fort Payne Chamber of Commerce. Awesome folks there as well. Jennifer McCurdy, you're super awesome too. So going ahead and check out, if you're thinking about coming into Alabama, check out the Chamber of Commerce. We're going to treat you so sweet. You'll want to live here when you get through on this trip. I promise you that. Okay, now he goes on to say probably one of the most underused tourism is the board. Okay, now this one kind of surprised me, and this is number 11, and it says, "Don't buy a money belt. They're stupid." Let's find out why he thinks that. Okay, thieves know they exist. Makes sense. Okay, thieves know they exist, and being seen, one basically shouts, "Look at me! I'm a tourist with money." I see what they're saying. Rip me off. The more you can blend in and act like a local, the easier it will be to get deals and avoid touts. So if you're worried about pickpockets, keep a better eye on your stuff, okay? And then this is another thing. I've seen people do this, and maybe they're visiting friends and family, and so they're in town, and they're used to being in their town where maybe they know everybody by name. It's one of those things. But they'll be at a department store and have a cart. And I've seen people do this a million times. Please don't be one of those people. What they'll do is they put their handbag in the cart, turn around, start talking to somebody, maybe somebody went to high school with, they're back in town again. It's easy prey, okay? Somebody can just walk by and get your handbag and leave with it. So be really careful about that, okay? Don't just leave it in there. I keep mine on me, but now I don't carry a big bag anymore. I carry the small one. If it can't get into a small bag, I don't need it. It's the way I look at it. So really, really pay attention, okay? Keep it on you if you possibly can. You can always, if it's a shoulder strap, I like shoulder straps. So you put it around your neck and then have it right here to the side. That's a good idea as well. So be super careful when you're traveling. If nothing else, please just strap it in the cart so that you make it harder for people. They can't just walk by and pick it up and leave. So please do that, even if you come visit us in our great towns right here in North Alabama. Okay, let's see. When you go out, take only what you need. And this does make a lot of sense. Okay, limit the amount of cash and bank cards you carry with you. So if it does happen, you can recover easily. Never take more than one credit card or ATM card with you. And they're going to say, my rule for cash is to carry what I carry to a $50 USD, okay? Always carry a lock. They come in handy, especially when you stay in dorms and you need to lock your stuff up. May not have a lock to it. Carry a small combination lock with you when you travel. Don't use one with keys because you lose the keys and then you're messed up, okay? So combination is going to be better. Okay, make extra copies of your passport and important documents. Yes. Don't forget to email a copy to yourself as well. I do that with all my documents, and I'll go ahead and scan it, email it. And by the way, I wanted to mention something to you. You have a scanner on your phone. Yes, if you've got notes in here, all you've got to do, I'm going to show you. This is really quick. So let's say I want to scan something and just kind of keep it on my person. All I've got to do is go into Notepad, and let me find it right here. It's right here, notes. Okay, everybody has this icon right here that says notes. Okay, so I'm going to click on notes, and let me get to a new folders. Okay, so I'm going to go in to all the notes on my phone. So let's just say I want to do a new one right here. So you see the little, this is on all the iPhones. I'm not sure about Androids. So you click right here like a new note. Okay, there's a place where you can take a picture. I can choose a photo, or I can take a photo or video, okay, or I can scan right here on your phone. Okay, you don't have to buy all this expensive stuff. So I'm going to go right here to scan documents. And let's just say I wanted to scan the birthday club, okay, and I want to send it to somebody. Okay, I've just taken it and I have scanned it. Now all I've got to do is save it. Okay, then it's going to give me the opportunity. If I wanted to email it to somebody, I can do that. I know when we were buying the farm here, we had to scan. I wish I'd had this then. So we were constantly having to scan documents back and forth. So you can do that on your iPhone, and it's all in Notes, which is a free app anyway. Okay, how much time do I have? Okay, let me do one more. Okay, this is talking about the extra copies of your passport and important documents. So don't forget to email a copy to yourself. You never know when you might need some sort of documentation for you, and you might not want to carry the original. Additionally, if your passport gets stolen, having a copy will come in handy for the police report. So make sure you do that. And then one more thing, this is number 15. And again, the website here is just full of all kinds of juicy information. Nomadicmatt.com. That's NOMADICMATT.com. Okay, ask a hostel staff for information, even when you aren't staying there. So in other words, hotel staff deal with budget travelers all day, every day. They know exactly where to go for cheap meals and attractions. They also tend to be locals, so they know the city pretty well. Ask them for all sorts of information. Even if you aren't staying in one, just pop in and ask for help. They'll usually give it to you. Okay. Now don't go at the busiest time of the day. If you say they've got lines of people, that's not a good time to do it. So anyway, that's just some more info. And I keep saying one more, but this one too. Number 16, learn basic phrases in the native language of your destination. Locals will appreciate that, and it's going to make your interactions easier. If you don't need to master the language, learning a few things like hello, goodbye, thank you, where's the bathroom? That's one we always will find for women. They'll go a long way to endearing yourself with the locals, and they'll like it that you tried it. But let me tell you something else you can do on your cell phone. Did you know that when you send a text, you can go right here to your text messages and you can change the language? Mm-hmm. So let's say you go to France. Okay, you don't speak French. Well, you can go in and type some messages and then change it over to French and just show it to them. That's the easiest thing on earth to do. Folks, thank you so much for watching Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio in the town of Geraldine, Alabama. We're a source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, locally, channel 182 in North Alabama, and Abundant TV found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Coming up on tomorrow's show, we're going to be talking with our mayor of Geraldine, Alabama, Chuck Abels. Brian Brown with the Auburn Extension Services will be with us as well at 2 p.m. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome, super duper day today. And I'll be seeing you just a little bit later. So y'all just really hang in there.